regular session. Ms. Troublefield, please call the roll.
Mrs. Briggs?
Here.
Mr. Cathell?
Here.
Mrs. Klein?
Here.
Mr. Neal? Dr. Parsons?
Here.
Mr. Peden?
Here.
Mr. Steele?
Here.
Ms. Taylor?
Here.
Mrs. West Warner?
Here.
Mrs. Wright?
Here.
And we still have a quorum. 3.02, approval of the agenda for July 27th. I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 3.03, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Three 3.05, I'll entertain a motion to approve the regular and executive session minutes of the July 22nd meeting.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 3.05 or 3.06, 3.07. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the organizational meeting and the organizational executive session meeting for July 1st, 2026.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One correction back on the 304 and 305. That was the June 22nd meeting, not July. I just want to make sure I make that correction. 4.01, above and beyond Law of Baltimore Elementary.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. One recognition this evening, we learned of a pretty scary situation that happened recently. Lord Baltimore that started on the bus, and we received an email from a parent that really gave some nice remarks regarding how that situation was handled. So it's certainly worthy of an above and beyond recognition here this evening. So I've asked Mrs. Webb and some others to join us, and yeah, I think you have some remarks, and then we have some recognitions. If those that we're recognizing could come on up to the stage once you've shared your remarks, and I think our parent may want to share some remarks as well. So
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Webb.
Thank you. Good evening. So tonight I have the privilege of recognizing a group of extraordinary individuals whose actions exemplify the very best of Lord Baltimore Elementary School and our district. Every day, our staff members are dedicated to educating, supporting, and caring for our students. And occasionally, however, called upon to respond in moments that require extraordinary courage, calmness, and teamwork. Their ability to remain calm under pressure, work together seamlessly, put the needs of children first reflects the highest standards of our profession. While they may consider what they did on the morning of June the 4th just their job, their actions made a profound difference and serve as a reminder to our schools that our schools are not only a place for learning, but also a place where every child is cared for and protected. It is my honor tonight to recognize these individuals this evening and to thank them for their exceptional commitment to the student safety and well-being. I would first like to welcome Mrs. Jacqueline Sturgis to the podium and let her share her story and her heartfelt gratitude.
So I talk for a living, and this is really hard. All right. So good evening, members of the Indian River School District Board of Education. My name is Jacqueline Sturgis, and I'm here tonight as a mother with a heartfelt overwhelming with gratitude. There are moments in life that forever change your perspective, and June 4th was one of those for me. At approximately 8:10 in the morning, one of those moments happened to our entire family. On that morning, my second grade son, Logan, was riding bus 73 on his way to school. Of course, 2 days before school let out. What could have ended as an unimaginable tragedy instead became a powerful reminder of the incredible people who serve our children every single day. I would first like to recognize a remarkable student, first grade student Violet. While speaking with Logan, She noticed something wasn't right. He was not responding to her. And instead of ignoring it or assuming that he was just tired on a normal morning, she trusted her instincts and immediately got Mr. Dave and Mr. Neal's attention. Her awareness, courage, and willingness to speak up are extraordinary qualities, especially for someone so young. She showed compassion, responsibility, and maturity far beyond her years. She truly deserves to be recognized. Because of her quick thinking, Mr. Dave and Mr. Neal responded immediately without hesitation. They recognized the seriousness of the situation and acted quickly, making sure that Logan was taken directly to the school nurse. They didn't dismiss what could have been mistaken just as a child not feeling well or being tired. Their calm professionalism, decisive actions, and genuine concern made all the difference. When Logan arrived to the health office, Nurse Sandy immediately began assessing him. She carefully checked his vital signs and quickly recognized that his heartbeat was irregular. She didn't just document her findings, she stayed with him, monitored him closely, and ensured he was under constant observation until I made my way to the school. Her vigilance, medical judgment, and unwavering commitment to my son's well-being provided reassurance during one of the most terrifying moments of my life. As a parent, there are no words to fully describe what it feels like to receive a phone call that something is wrong with your child. Your heart stops, your mind races. But when I arrived at the school, I was met by the professionals who had already done everything they could to ensure Logan was safe and received the care that he needed. Because of what happened that morning, Logan received further medical evaluation, and we learned that he has a previously undetected heart condition. Had it not been for the observation of Violet, first grade, man, first grade, observation of Violet, the immediate response of Mr. Dave and Mr. Neal, and the exceptional care provided by Nurse Sandy, who knows what could have come of that situation. Because of them, my son was able to receive the medical care he needed. They did far more than simply do their jobs that day. They quite possibly saved my son's life. As parents, we entrust our children in this school district every day, hoping that they are cared for, protected, and valued. On June 4th, every person involved exceeded those expectations in ways I will never forget. Their actions represented the very best of the Indian River School District and show every member of the school, or Indian River School District, and show how every member of the school, community, students, transportation staff, school health professionals play a role in keeping our children safe every day. I am so grateful that you're taking the time to recognize Violet, Mr. Dave, Mr. Neal, and Nurse Sandy tonight. Their compassion, their attentiveness, their willingness to act without hesitation is truly extraordinary. They are exactly the kind of people that myself, as a parent in this district, hope care for my child every day. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you, each one of you. I made it till the end at least. Thank you for all that you did for my son and for the care that you show the children, especially at Lord Baltimore every day. We will be forever grateful.
Thank you, Mrs. Sturgis. Mrs. Webb, if you could join us on the stage, we'll read some names and give some recognition. Steele?
All right, we would like to recognize and bring to the stage. We call her Nurse Sandy, Sandra Willie. All right, Nurse Sandy.
The kids got to see Nurse Sandy in regular clothes. They didn't recognize her when she came in. Bus driver, Mr. Neil Morgan, come on up. Fantastic. And the bus aide, Mr. Dave Smith. Come on up. Like to recognize also that Merle Layton is here tonight, who Layton Busing that employs these two gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. My girl, Violet Powell. Come on, sister. This is wonderful. We're very proud. Oh, Merle, you have one. Come on now, Mr. Merle Layton, come on up. Want to make sure you weren't forgotten. Yes, sir. Welcome. Deserve it. Logan, come on up, man.
Just don't fall off your stage, Dan.
No, he's got games to play. He's got games to play.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening. That's always a great presentation when we have something like that and you see everybody work together to solve an issue. Moving along, 5.01, public comment. Drawings.
One signed up this evening. Rick Radatovich.
Now that's a tough act to follow, I have to say. Thank you. First, I must address last month's speaker's accusation citing NAEP's data as, quote, lying with statistics. That personal attack is unacceptable. Using the nation's report card, the gold standard for consistent representative data is reasonable oversight, not deception. Dismissing uncomfortable facts with such rhetoric reveals more about a reluctance to confront reality than about the data itself. The points made on test differences and demographics deserve discussion, but let's have some rigorous talk. NAEP uses proper representative sampling, not a flawed full census. It accounts for special needs students and accommodations for waiting. Full population testing, like Smart Balance that's used here in Delaware, has its own issues. Higher stakes can lead to teaching to the test, exclusive games, or testing fatigue. NAEP sampling minimizes that while providing consistent national benchmark. The score gaps noted are real and appear across all major tests. However, emphasizing Delaware's higher Hispanic population as the reason for our poor performance, while praising low Hispanic Mississippi, disparages the Hispanic community. it implies they are dragging down the results. This is classic victim blaming. Complaining that testing isn't fair or demographics make NAEP unusable is not advocacy. It's an excuse to avoid real reform. It defends the failing status quo instead of implementing proven changes in curriculum, early literacy, phonics, cursive writing, and accountability that raise achievement for all students. However, different tests measure overlapping but not identical skills. NAEP remains the best common yardstick precisely because states use varying testing with different proficiency cutoffs. Mapping studies show many state proficiency standards fall below NAEP basic. Claiming other states only test the top 10 is overstated. Most use census-style testing like Delaware, but with varying rigor. Demographics explain some differences, but they are not destiny. Mississippi's gains, especially among Hispanic, Black, and low-income students, prove policy matters. Delaware spends above the national average per pupil, yet ranks near the bottom. We can do better. Indian River outperforms the state smarter balance in key areas, which is great work by us. 35% proficient in math versus a state average of 31, reading proficient at 44 versus a state average at 42. We are better, but we still must improve. Our kids deserve ambitious instructions, not lowered expectations. Now, testing isn't everything, but ignoring patterns across multiple assessments is also misleading. Persistent gaps, stagnant declining performance demand action. Better early reading, cursive for cognitive benefits, which I have been an advocate, reduced fads, more local control, and accountability over excuses. Delaware can do better by learning from high gainers like Mississippi rather than relevantizing away the data. Our kids, regardless of background, deserve ambitious, effective instructions, not lowered expectations. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mann, anyone online wishing to make a public comment?
No, online.
Anyone else here this evening wishing to make a public comment? Thank you, Mr. Steele.
Okay, we're going to do something a little different in future board meetings. We're moving our committee reports up farther into the beginning of the board meeting. That'll give us a chance to get whatever questions board members have answered before we actually get to the aspect of voting on this. So going into committee report 6.01, Ms. Wright.
Yes, good evening. We had our Buildings and Ground Committee meeting on Monday, July 13th. We discussed various topics, one being the major capital improvement project for Sussex Central. Many of you know we are nearing the home stretch of having that 100% completed. The updates Mr. Brad Cowan gave us and the work that there's being done now is on the ag and the maintenance building. He said it is complete. They were waiting for DP&L to provide the power for the startup. And as of today, I don't know if that has happened or it has not. No, it has not. Okay. We also have a theater that has been renovated. If you're ever at Sussex Central or would like to take a tour of Sussex Central, please reach out to Dr. Owens or Dr. Jerns, and I'm quite sure they will schedule it so that you can see the modern renovations that have taken place. We also have a new program. It's called the Oyster program. Just to keep it brief, we're proposing to build a building so that they can do aquaculture in there as a CTE program where eventually the oysters will be raised, can be sold. And at some point in time, one of these days, you may be sitting in a restaurant and those might be Sussex Central oysters that have been grown there. So just keep that in mind. We're also looking at that building. When it was first done, they weren't going to put a bathroom in simply for whatever reason. But now we have talked about that and we'll continue to talk about that in order to get a restroom for that. We did our work orders, which is a monthly report for things that need to be done in and around the schools. The individuals are working diligently to get those taken care of. And then the other thing we talked about was for Indian River High School. By August, we have to do a submission for a CN. A CN is a certificate of necessity. And we're looking at putting one in for August to be able to do help me.
The
Culinary arts program. And then under new business, Lord Baltimore and Ocean View wanted a traffic study, got a traffic study grant. So we'll be working with that. And Dr. Parsons talked to us and updated us on Ingram's Pond and the possibility of working with the Delaware State Forestry Service to get some input from them on the harvesting of some of the timber there. That was the end of our meeting. It adjourned at 5:39 PM and our next meeting will be August the 10th.
Ms. Wright? Any questions? 6.02, comprehensive school safety, Mr. Kaplan.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. So just one thing I want to put out. So the district, we're going to start having quarterly safety meetings. We are scheduled right now to start those meetings August 19th of next month. That's going to include myself and several members of our cabinet, our superintendent, assistant superintendent. So these are going to be consistent. I'm really excited about the possibilities and some of the ideas we're going to be able to share. So hopefully next month, board meeting, we're going to have a lot of good information to update the public with. So looking forward to it and working with these guys on it. So, Mr. Steele, thank you.
Questions? 6.03, finance, Mr. Peden.
Thank you. East Millsboro Elementary School received a Freeman Assist Community with Extra Support grant in the amount of $10,000. This will be taken to the board as an action item for recognition of the Freedom Foundation and as a donation that exceeds $5,000. Mr. Parker shared the opportunity for the district to enter into an agreement with the Woodbridge School District to move the SCOPE program that is currently in the district's Roxana location to Millsboro Middle School. Woodbridge intends to provide services for grades 3 through 5. The proposed memorandum of understanding is for 2 years, with the understanding that the district requires the space at Millsboro Middle. There would be a minimum of a 1-year notice to Woodbridge. Mr. Furman presented a revised proposal to expand athletic ticket sales for the 26-27 school year. Mr. Furman shared different options and draft mock-ups of different tickets. Mr. Furman estimates that the change will raise approximately $228,000 in athletic ticket sales. The tickets would be managed by the individual schools. However, the use of funds would be restricted to athletic uniforms and athletic equipment. Mr. Parker presented the proposed fiscal year 27 salary scales for administrators, constables, investigators, student advisors, bus drivers, and bus aides. The state raise for the teachers of 7.1% was applied to 70% of each cell in the administrative scale per policy. The state raise for the paras and other state employees is 3%, which was applied to 70% of each cell of the investigators and student advisor scales. The constable scale remains the same as last year due to ongoing negotiations with the group. And lastly, Mr. Parker reviewed the June 30th, 2026 financial reports. That concludes my report.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Peden. 6.04, there was no curriculum meeting this month. 6.05, the SBA Board of Directors, Ms. Klein.
There was no meeting in July, but the annual meeting will be held August 8th. And then regular meetings will start in September.
Here. 6.06, the SBA legislation, Ms. Briggs.
There's been no meetings, and just to piggyback off with Mrs. Klein, we have the annual meeting and that'll be held on Saturday, August 8th in Milford. So we'll have some hopefully information for you.
Do you have any questions on 6.05 or 6.06? 6.07, special education. Mr. Neal is not. Do we have a report this week? Dr. Owens?
No update for special education at this moment.
Okay, there is no report. Moving on to 6.08, Ms. Taylor, policy.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Under second readings, we had no further changes or edits requested for JECCA, school choice. Also moving down, there were no further changes or edits requested for JE attendance. And we will need to take action on the two policies, JECCA and JE this evening. I'll pause there.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion that we approve policies JE student attendance and JECCA for school choice.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, policy still under review. So no further changes or edits were requested for the following policies. That would be BBA, school board powers and duties, ILB, student participation in state assessments and exemption criteria, KNAJ, interrogations, searches, and seizures. Further review and changes were requested for the following policies. JBCB, staff conduct, drug and alcohol-free workplace, and JBCB.4, dating and social engagements with students. We will go back to the next meeting and get into much further conversation on those two policies. We adjourned at 4:50 and our next meeting will be scheduled for August 10th, 2026 to begin at 4 o'clock. All are welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
You're welcome.
Any questions? Moving on, 6.09, Futures Committee, Dr. Owens.
No committee meeting for futures, as we've been discussing. Scope is an option, and I'll review that under new business later on in the agenda.
6.10, Community Advisory Board. No report.
No report this evening.
6.11, REA Representative.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Blair Catlin Brown, school social worker at Selbyville Middle and proud president of Indian River Education Association. A meeting or two ago, a community member spoke during public comment and threw out some numbers. Those numbers were wonderful. Though numbers are wonderful, they're only useful when given in full context. I jotted some of those numbers down and fleshed out what they truly mean so that we can take a look at them through the full microscope. It was said that teachers make an average of $74,000 in the US. Using data gathered by the National Education Association, the full story is that the average starting salary here in Delaware is only $49,000. But we do get to an average of about $76,000. That sounds great, right? But the key fact that's missing is the minimum living wage for Delaware. The Economic Policy Institute defines that minimum as an income needed for a family of one adult and one child to have a modest but adequate standard of living in the most affordable metro areas. In Delaware, that number is $79,000, which is $3,000 less than our average salary of a teacher in Delaware. That means that over half of Delaware educators cannot afford to live in our state. It's even worse when you consider that the ESP's average is about $43,000 per year. A quick scroll through Zillow will demonstrate that living down in Sussex is not cheaper than living in Kent or Newcastle. Another data point that was shared out is that we make 4% more down here than in the rest of the states. Salaries vary widely throughout our state. That's something that DSEA and IREA are always trying to equalize. But just for an example, I looked when they posted salary scales for Red Clay. If I went there today, I'd make $4,000 more in Red Clay. And again, it's not cheaper to live up there. I would make, or cheaper to live down here. And I just purchased a home, so I know how much homes cost. If I went to Christina, I would make $8,000 more. So again, it's disingenuous to say that all of us are making more money down here in Sussex. Test scores are often offered up as a concern, but we are strictly sharing out data. You're comparing apples to oranges. There are so many differences in how each state operates that it's nearly impossible to have clarity just looking at the numbers. Additionally, using these scores as some sort of metric to gauge if staff deserves a raise is completely tone deaf. Staff does not control the 10% of staff that you guys cut. Staff does not control the resources that come down from the state. Staff does not solely control basically anything that results in these test scores. So again, why are we being held accountable for the scores in terms of our raises? And examples of the apples to oranges comparison, Delaware ranks 5th highest when it comes to the number of students with IEPs. We have 19.4%, where the average is 15% across the country. As a related service provider and the mother of an amazing student with an IEP, I can tell you two things. One, those students are absolute rock stars. But two, they require more support, more resources, more time. And standardized testing simply does not gauge how amazing they truly are. I could go on and on about apples and oranges and the inequities of our educational system. But again, I think it's demonstrated that we have to flesh out these numbers fully to be honest about them. Education is not a corporation. We do not produce items. We produce kind, wise, intelligent, prepared for the world humans. Those who come from a strictly business background often like to compare our work to producing a product. But those of us in education find that to wildly miss the mark. Numbers are part of the story, but they do not tell the full tale. Funding education is ridiculously complicated in even the best run states. Delaware has struggled with our funding formula for generations. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Change has to happen, and it will be uncomfortable for some. But at the end of the day, our unions fight because our staff's working conditions are our students' learning conditions, and that is always worth standing up for. Thank you. Thank you.
Moving along to new business, 7.01, school choice applications, 2026-27.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Attached within board docs is your most up-to-date school choice applications. I'll just remind the board, priority ones are returning students and 6 are students within the district that are wishing to transfer schools. The recommendation for each of those is to accept this evening, and I will remind, because we don't look at these except for this time of year in great depth, moving into the 26-27 school year. The CAP T is, the T stands for our total, so that's the total number of space for 100% enrollment. The CAP U, which is the utilization, that is 85% of the total. And also you have a column for the current enrollment and then the percentage of that current enrollment against the CAP T. The CAP U is specifically to determine that 80%. So again, happy to answer any questions with regard to school choice this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Holmes, thank you for that explanation of CAP T and CAP U. It's still taking me a while to catch up with that. So looking at this, it looks like the schools here, not all of our schools, but these schools here, well below capacity. We're not overcrowded. I think there's only 2 that are over the CAP T, the capacity total. East Millsboro Elementary, Georgetown Elementary. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So what's our plan with schools that are over total capacity? What do we do in that situation?
We're going to continue to monitor East Millsboro. You're going to hear in a little bit further use of this building. When we went to our last referendum, it was to free space for here, not only free space here for overflow, but it also allowed an expanding Millsboro Middle School to move into a school where they could fit much easier. And we checked that box, it's occurring. So with East Millsboro, we're going to continue to monitor. We talked to the previous principal. We know Mrs. Green has taken over, but she was fine with space right now.
Okay.
The 100%, 102% as indicated on this document is concerning. We have buildings that are there, but we trust our principals to kind of monitor that space to make sure we're okay. Georgetown Elementary, we have some ability to be flexible with some space there because they are combined with Georgetown Middle School. They're rapidly growing as well, but we do have some options there. And we can also look at our boundary lines within Georgetown with North Georgetown Elementary, which does have some space as well. So a little bit of flexibility right now, but as you mentioned, we need to keep an eye on it.
Okay, thank you.
That's one of the reasons we still have the futures committee as well, to look at those sort of questions. I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2026-27 school choice applications.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 7.02 donation, Freeman Foundation.
Yeah, as you heard during committee reports, we did discuss the FACES donation that, or the grant that was received for East Millsboro, and Mrs. Green is here tonight to share. And Mr. Peden, I think you had said 5,000, but I believe it might be 10,000. Mrs. Green is gonna set the record straight and we'll amend those.
It was 10,000, but it had to come before the board because it was over the $5,000 limit.
Thank you. Mrs. Green, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. We are excited to share that East Millsboro Elementary School has been awarded a $10,000 Freeman Foundation FACES grant. The Freeman Assists Communities with Extra Support program is designed to identify and fund smaller, often overlooked projects that make a meaningful impact in local communities. Our project, Nightly Reads, Golden Night Book Vending Machine, will bring a book vending machine and a supply of books to our entire school for the entire school year. This initiative will increase access to books, support positive behavior, and inspire a lifelong love of learning and reading in all of our students. We are incredibly grateful to the Freeman Foundation for supporting our Golden Knights and helping us create exciting new reading opportunities at East Millsboro Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Green. And as Mr. Peden acknowledged, that would require action on breaking our threshold of 5,000.
Mr. Peden, you wish to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept the Freeman's donation.
Second.
Have a second.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 7.03 fiscal year 2027 athletic ticket pricing.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. We discussed this at length during committee. We also discussed it as a board and we are bringing back this evening. Mr. Furman, if you could join us to answer any questions. The information that you shared is appreciated. You put a lot of time into that and energy. We flushed out some questions during committee, but we may have some questions this evening, Mr. Steele, from members of our board before considering.
I do have a question, and I started off one way with this thought, and I've totally reversed for the last 6 weeks since we've been talking about this. And I saw a highlighted section when I read this report earlier, dealing with the senior pass. And there was some discussion whether we were going to charge for the senior pass or we were not going to charge for the senior pass. I personally feel where we are currently and what we've always done in the past, because we've always charged, we've always had season passes. We have not charged senior citizens 65 and older. Am I correct in saying that? That is correct. I would like a discussion to see how the board feels if we were to take that out and continue with the free season pass. Reason I'm saying this, I sat with a family at Long Neck this weekend. Grandparents are raising a child, grandchild. And, they were talking about, the cost of it. And I'm very fearful that we're going to have people who are seniors who are raising grandchildren not be able to attend those kids' games. And I personally would feel that which would come out and we would fulfill what we've always done. And 65 and older would have a free pass. One board member, but that's the way I feel.
I agree with you on that.
Any other discussions?
Yeah, I just have another question. I don't know if anyone wanted to chime in on that. But so you're ticketing for new sports. So it's my understanding there's always been charges for certain sports. The only thing we're adding is some additional.
Yes, ma'am.
Games
We're
and
going from, it's currently, I think we're charging for 5 sports at both high schools and at the middle schools. We're going to open up to now we're going to be charging for all of our sports, with the exception of a few that are such as golf, tennis, which are very difficult to charge for.
Okay. So
But yeah.
really just matching what's going on
Yes, ma'am.
in other
Matching.
districts, and other districts charge for these. And so now we're going to match what they do, and all the funds will go to basically to support the athletes and their uniforms things that they need.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then I guess my question about the over 65 was that, and I understand that students get in for free as they should. And then after that, there's a fee. My thinking was to keep it fair across the board for everybody, because I know lots of folks over 65 are struggling, and I know lots of folks who are parents who are struggling. I don't know if there's one class that can claim that over another. So that was my concern. My thought, you just keep it equitable. I would definitely, now I'm going to just bring something else up, but if you're over 80, I say get in for free for sure. But if there's a discount for over 65, and that's what we're talking about, is it free or a discount? I think it's,
What we had originally planned in the whole proposal, and what we were waiting was for 65 and older to stay the same way it has been, is that they would be given a pass for free. They'd have still have to come in and sign in for it, collect it the same way at each school, but see where those numbers are, but still provide those for free for family 65 or for adult 65.
okay. So I
On
guess,
that discussion, is there any way we can make people provide a local ID for that? So we don't have parents coming in or grandparents coming in from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York.
Yes, ma'am.
And getting a free pass?
When they come in and purchase it, they have to come to the school and they will see the financial secretary of each school, and that would be one of the requirements.
My suggestion would be like a gold pass
Mhm.
for the people who are 65 and above. And they would be able to use that to come. I think it would be really good community support. I think we're trying to look at climate and morale. We're trying to, I guess, build relationship with the public. And I think that at this point, I would just suggest a gold pass. I think it would look really good. I did do some reading on it, and basically what I read, they strongly suggested doing a free pass for 65 and above in a school system.
And one way you could do that is once they're 65 and older, they get that gold pass. That's good for them. They don't have to come back each year. They have that. It's got numbered. If we could do that as well.
Just something that I feel strong about.
and people have the ability to donate, like say you're over 65, you had your gold pass. And because I'm sure over 65 would like to support our athletes just
Yeah.
as much as anybody.
And all schools have some sort of donation program or support program set in
That would be
place.
great.
If we look at most of our schools' athletic budgets, I believe last year, most of them were over budget. So we are needing the funding. I feel bad for the senior citizens, but I can also say my parents are senior citizens on a very, very tight budget. I have 3 children that participated in sports, and I wanted my parents to watch them. So I bought the tickets for my parents. So to be equitable, I think right now, before we pass a referendum, we should be charging for everybody because the monies are needed desperately by the athletic programs.
Any further discussion?
On another note, I was looking at what the monies were going for, and it says that, one of the things says, improved replacement cycles for uniforms and equipment. Will there be still a policy, whether it's still every 4 years, for the uniforms, that'll still hold?
Yes, ma'am.
That true?
Yep,
Okay.
we'll still keep the cycle.
Yes,
Yeah, we have to keep that way in order to cover everybody.
that's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Would there be any consideration using some of those funds also for transportation? Those costs are skyrocketing and we have no control. That would help alleviate that, and it's not wasteful. It's a non-negotiable. If we have no say-so on the gas prices and transportation costs, would we consider spending some of it for transportation as well?
I think we can have Mr. Parker look at that. I believe in recent years, we've actually considered pulling the transportation out of athletics completely. So we can certainly evaluate that. I'd like to give it some time and analyze it, fully.
I gotta say, I do agree with you. I don't want it to be an open season to just use that money to buy uniforms and upgrades and upgrades and upgrades when we still are struggling to cover and look, transportation, I'm guessing is probably your biggest cost factor, or close to officials is number two, or
Yep.
vice versa.
Yep.
Those are your two. I would imagine those funds should be able to be used for those areas if needed. But I think we'd have to take a good look at those budgets with a very sharp eye, Mr. Parker, and make sure those budgets are following things are purchased that are needed. Wanted, but that are needed.
And Mr. Furman, kind of to loop in the transportation costs, is it fair to assume that we budget our transportation based on regular season and not success in the postseason?
We do our regular season and we try to factor in postseason, but it's a gamble because, as you know, sometimes football may be playing all the way upstate 3 games in a row. We try to guesstimate that. I know Eric does the same thing, but sometimes we don't have that final decision till it happens.
Yeah, and as a thank you and a nod to our very successful athletic programs, I'm sure we've gone over budget because we've had a lot of people enter the tournament and win state championships, which is applause to our coach and our athletes. So that does happen sometimes, but it's not necessarily because we're fiscally irresponsible.
No, it's out of our control.
So speaking of being fiscally responsible, one of our high schools was over budget by January of this past school year. So we have to figure out how to keep a very close eye on where monies are being spent and how they're being spent. I don't know if there's anything we can do to improve that.
I think probably we could ask Mr. Parker, is it feasible or possible that we could get almost an itemized expenditure of the 5 athletic areas that we fund, so that we could take a look as a board, just exactly where most of the percentages are going and for what? Is that possibility? Okay, I'll put that request in for the board.
Well, I would like to make a motion, maybe for additional discussion, but I'd like to make a motion to accept, what you would like to do to extend the pricing to these additional teams, keeping an over 65-year-old discount, but making it 20%, and then extending the free pass to over 80 years old.
Can I ask a question first? Mr. Furman, do you have any idea how many senior passes are given out each year?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you because it's been every location. So every school has passes, even district office had them. So I don't know if that number's really, that's hard to know. Would take a lot of research.
Yeah, I'd be curious about how many people would be impacted.
Yeah, I wouldn't even try and give you a number just to.
That are already purchasing.
That would be very difficult for me to give you right now. I'm sorry.
I understand. Thank you.
You want me to repeat the motion?
Repeat the motion, please.
So just to be, as fair, as equitable to all families and to support our athletics as much as possible, being over budget and trying to get you the funding we need for our athletes, I would like to go ahead and approve extending the ticketing prices for the sporting events that you recommended and extending the over 65 discount, making it a 20% discount, and then extending the free passes to the age of 80 and above.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Motion fails for lack of support. Would anyone else like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we follow the guidelines that were presented to us, with the exception of the fan age limit of 65 and older, purchasing an annual ticket of $50. That instead of that we continue it the way that it's always been, where 65 and over, there's no charge.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Please poll the board.
Mrs. Briggs,
Yes.
Mr. Cathell,
Yes.
Mrs. Klein,
No.
Dr. Parsons,
No.
Mr. Peden,
No.
Mr. Steele,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Sid, yes.
Yes.
Mrs. West Warner,
Yes.
Mrs. Wright?
Yes.
That is 6 yes, 3 no, and 0 abstentions.
Motion passes majority. $7.04 fiscal year 2027 school resource officers, SRO contract renewals.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. We reviewed this last month. We were asked to get some additional data. We did reach out. Mr. Costello reached out to our municipalities, Delaware State Police, and we do have that data that's been included on your board docs. And we've also, again, included that yearly comparison with the proposals for this year. I know that Dr. Jones can answer some questions. She's been reviewing the data with Mr. Costello. Mr. Parker is here if there's any financial questions. And again, these proposals would all come out of our available grant funding for this upcoming school year.
Discussions? Would anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the contracts as is.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Oh, I have a question since now I know what the motion is. So I don't think we were given the actual contracts. I think you said they're pretty standard.
Yes.
But what I didn't see, and maybe it was on just the I guess, price comparisons, like what the costs were across the board for different SROs.
So that should be attached in your board docs. It is labeled SRO yearly comparison.
And so right now they are, I guess, not standardized.
That's correct. They provide that fee currently. And as you'll see, there is some variance.
So this is something that we're going to discuss in the future, looking at this.
Yeah, so some of the discussion I know that I've had from board members that have contacted me is the formation of a committee to look at more standard approach to how we operate. So we're happy to form that and have some additional discussion.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So can we make the motion to accept these for this year
Yeah,
with
Take this
the
motion in
understanding?
section. We have to take this motion first.
Okay,
So I have a motion to approve and also have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Now, Ms. Taylor.
I just think it's really important that in the future, as Dr. Parsons just mentioned, that we move forward, looking at this, making it more consistent. So I don't know that a motion needs to be passed since we've already voted, but I just think we need to really have a committee to study this and make it fair across the board with consistency.
Is that form of motion?
If you'd like me to, I'd be
Yes,
glad
ma'am.
to. I'd like to make a motion that we form a committee that reviews and researches this to make it more consistent and fair across the board, equitable, for future cost comparisons of
Second.
SROs.
Second.
I have a motion. I also have a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, 7.05 fiscal year 27 salary scales, administration, constables, investigators, student advisors, and bus driver aides.
Mr. Parker, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So we have some fiscal 27 salary scales here to go through and vote on. Have any questions about? The first one is probably, we'll start with the hardest one, at least the most complicated to explain, is our administrator scale. As we discuss in our committee meetings, the state gives us a scale from top to bottom for what they pay for teachers. And we have a local scale from top to bottom of what they pay what we pay on the local side for teachers. For administrators, we did not have a scale for a long time. And then several years ago, as a district, we voted to put together one scale with a total dollar amount that was not split between state and local. And so then we have to do formulas in the background essentially to determine how much the state gives us for each of the administrators. You start with a teacher scale, you multiply that times 1.2 to get them from 10 months to 12 months. And then each administrator has a different index based on unit count and number of years of service. So then that tells us how much money we get from the state for each administrator. And then we essentially fill in the gap locally to get to that total number. My understanding that it wasn't always consistent with the totals that we hired administrators with. So currently we have administrators with different breakdowns of what their percentage of their pay is that's covered by the state versus the local. It's not consistent across our board right now. So this scale, what we've done with it this year is what is in our policy, and that is to pass through what the state has approved for the teachers, which is 7.1% on 70% of the pay. So by doing that, all the administrators will get that increase, and it will cost us $11,000 additionally locally because of that variance of the people across the board of what they have. Now, we discuss long-term, when we're in a better position financially after we pass the referendum, we'd like to put together a local scale so that we can control the local side a little bit more than what we can control it now. But that's going to take some money essentially because we're going to have to bring up people so that everyone is equal. And so for right now, to adhere with our policy, this is the scale we presented. We're passing through the state portion. And again, it's going to cost us $11,000 locally this year. Additional money.
We need to vote on this. Yes. Okay, well, any discussion on the administrative?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand. So you're saying that we're giving them administrators, is it a 7.1% raise on 70% of their salary?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so that comes out to about 5%, 4.97?
That's correct, yes.
So almost a 5% raise for the administrators,
That's correct.
but only costing the district 11,000.
$11,000 additionally, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I need a motion first, that it.
What is the motion that we
need a
just?
motion.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the administrative scale as presented.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Constables.
All right, hopefully this one will go quicker in my explanation. This proposal is to keep the rate the same. Where the constables joined the union this year, and right now we have an MOU in place with them to keep the scale the same until we finish our negotiations.
So what is their scale? Their step increases?
Yes, they all just would get the step increase, the same scale that we had last year.
We'll have a motion on the floor.
Make a motion to accept the constable's salary scale.
Second. I have a motion and a second.
Well, I have one question. So since you told us how much so it costs the district $11,000, how much do the step increases cost the district?
So each step increase here on the constable scale is $1,521 as they move up. There, I can't do the math that quickly in my head. There we have 18 constables that is this covered by. So whatever the 1521 is times 18 is what it will cost us additionally this year. But that will come from our safety and security funds.
Safety.
That's
okay.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Which we get 70% of that from our local tax money and 30% of that comes from the state. But that's our safety and security money, not our local funds.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second on the floor for the constables. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Investigators.
Okay, so the state approved a 7.1% on 70% for the teacher scale. For everyone not on the teacher scale, the state approved a 3% increase this year. So the investigators are also covered by safety and security 100%. So this one, we propose two options there. Number one is obviously keeping it the same. They just get their steps. And number two, then it would be implementing that 3% on 70% of the total. There are two investigators. Option one is going to cost us $1,088 just to get their steps. Option two would cost us $4,655.
Mr. Parker, what is your recommendation on this?
I think because we have the funds in the safety and security fund, and in keeping with consistency with what the state gave everyone else, I think option two would be my recommendation.
We have the funding to cover that, correct?
That is correct,
Said
yep.
We have the
Yes.
full safety and security money to cover
Yes.
that.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to take option 2 to fund the investigators.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Student advisors.
Student advisors, this is the same thing. It's the option one is staying the same. Option two is having the 3% increase. We are down to one student advisor in our district. So this would option two would cost us $1,364.
Mr. Parker, I'm assuming you have the same recommendation on this one.
That is correct, yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept option 2.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Bus drivers and bus aides.
Okay, this one, sorry, I want to split this one up as well. So the first one is the bus drivers. So for the bus drivers and the bus aides, the state gives us for the bus drivers, the starting rate. So the step one, the year zero, the state gives us what that rate has to be. And then from there, as a district, we have a 25 cents per hour increase per step for the bus drivers. On the bus aid side, they actually give us the first 10 steps, excuse me. And then after that, we keep that the same because that's what the state does with their side of this when they pay on the state side. So, and just as a reminder, the state covers 90% of our transportation costs. We only cover 10% of this locally.
Your recommendation?
Is to accept these two. We have to accept essentially these because this is what the state reckon. The only option would be if you wanted to change the steps on the bus driver side.
So what is their raise? What's the percentage raise that they're getting?
I do not know what the rate was last year. I could find that out for you.
Because they're getting, their step increases are 25 cents an hour.
Mhm.
So that may not be equivalent to,
It may, you're right. I don't know what the percentage works out to be. And
Okay.
that depends on how many hours they work too. That would be variable by each individual person, honestly.
right, but just the 25 cents an hour and based on what their rates are, it's probably a less than 1% raise.
I can't do math.
But we don't have the ability to change that, or we do, but we'd have to change the step increases.
We could change the step increases.
Do we have to decide this tonight?
You do not have to decide that tonight. We need to know what that is.
I guess the only reason why I'm asking is that, everyone else is getting these, from the state, either 7%, 5%, 3%. But I don't know what percent raise they're getting. And I'm just thinking maybe to be fair across the board, we should maybe look at that. I'm not sure. Because if we are able to table it, I would maybe from my standpoint, unless you can give me more information, or if anybody else has comments or questions about that. And then to figure out how many bus drivers we have, how much would that cost the district, and if we can afford to match some of the raises that everyone else is getting.
Yeah.
So Mr. Parker, to clear that up, that would be all out of local funds, should we decide to do the step increase more so, correct?
That's correct.
So the state won't match any of that. That would be all local.
Right, but we're paying out of our local funds for some of the other raises. I guess I'm just not sure why the bus drivers are so different, but it's 90% by the state, so I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
thoughts.
it is covered 90% of the state.
Full-time job.
And
It's
they,
not a full.
It's not full-time. That's one thing you have to look at.
correct.
And, you know, when they up the hourly rate, where some of the bus drivers will make more funds is if they apply, I'm not sure how do they do that. I think they still do that where they bid for athletic contracts and things like that. Then they can make more funds and that would come out of the athletic budget, transportation costs. That's correct. But that same hourly rate, unless I'm wrong, if it goes up 25 cents an hour, it also goes up 25 cents an hour over on the athletic side as well. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
So that's kind of where the difference is. They're not a full-time employee.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of our aides are retired, correct?
Yeah, I believe a lot of the,
It does impact their entitlement social securities if they go above a certain threshold as well. So that's something to consider.
And so we haven't heard from anybody from the bus drivers, like a representative, like their thoughts on this, or I guess I
No,
just don't have enough information to really digest all of this.
yeah, because we're given that bottom rate by the state. Like that's a required minimum that we have to pay. So that's not a negotiable, like they can come and ask for more all they want, but we can't give them more than that bottom number. For the,
Yeah, we
for the
only
first-
deal on our side with 10% of that,
Right,
of that salary.
right, that's correct.
Historically, have any of the bus drivers come and during the public comment or advocated for more money?
Not that I'm aware
Not
of.
in a while. They advocate, I will tell you now, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I used to be, I'm sure it's the same. They will advocate at the state level,
Makes
particularly your
sense.
contractors,
Mhm.
more so. I don't know if we've ever had them come on the local and
Okay.
advocate because it's such a small amount of money at their salary. It's only 10%.
So we're
So,
really negotiating just 10%.
yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay, do we have a motion on the floor? Anybody we need to make a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the proposal as the state and as Mr. Parker has proposed tonight.
Second.
Okay, have a motion, have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 7.06 scope placement at Millsboro Middle location.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. As we've discussed, we have been negotiating, Mr. Parker and I both collectively with scope with the transfer to this building, being that portion of it is vacated for the use of their scope program, which would also be inclusive of an elementary classroom. Through our discussions, and there is a map attached to board docs and the MOU. Just as a point of reference, since we're here, they would take the front of the building over there, that admin suite that you've seen. It would stretch down the north side and there's a wing that curves around and then would bring you back to the rear of the building. They do not need all that. They need the classroom space here. It gives them plenty of space and room to grow if they would like to grow. This is a initial 2-year agreement that could be extended at any point with 180 day notice if either party wants to be released from the agreement. The negotiated pricing is $4,400 per month, which we think is reasonable. It's consistent with what the YMCA was getting, given what they're already providing versus what YMCA was or was not providing. They will have their own help me out here, their own SRO.
Correct. Their own nurse.
We are providing custodial services. They're
Well-
bringing some of their furniture technology with them, and we're offering what we have here as well. Mr. Parker, anything else?
Yeah, we'd actually only be providing half of the custodial services because apparently part of their program is to make their kids clean the rooms. So that's gonna help, that helps us out a little bit. And then we talked about the transportation today. Essentially, every district is in charge of getting their own kids to here. The nutrition, they actually contract with us as a vendor to provide the lunches. And we're gonna still do that. Everything is gonna be the same as it is currently at the Roxana location.
And we're working with our transportation department, Mr. Tidwell, to maintain the same level of transportation services that was previously in place. So we did have to amend that, and I don't know if it made it to the attachment. We'll make sure that it's the same as what was before. I think it's a good use, additional use of this building. We stayed away from the southern wing down here. That's actually used almost daily throughout the year for professional development, activities with our own existing staff. And as I think I mentioned before, YMCA wants to meet here too. I don't know if they're going to want to continue services for and after school. I'm not sure. We'll have that discussion here soon, but a good agreement, I believe, with a program that is serving the entire county for a very good purpose, provided alternative setting and supports and counseling for students that are really in great need, and to expand to, I believe it's 4th and 5th graders at the elementary level and have those seats available. Again, it's very helpful as well. They were very happy with the way our school has looked. They recognize it's an aging school, but we've taken good care of it. And it's certainly an upgrade from the Roxana site. In talking with Mr. Mann, who is here this evening, we are looking for centralized purchasing for IT equipment. So we will have a bit of a surplus if we do indeed move in that direction. Given the existing surplus that we already have, that facility would be a nice area to provide some safe, secure, climate-controlled storage as well.
Dr. Owens, what's the capacity for the primary and the secondary? Do you know what the capacity is of how many students they can accept?
I don't know the specific capacity. Each county, each district in the county is charged a fee for seats. And depending on your size, you get those seats. So it's really the seats that are available to you. I did ask at max how many they typically have, and it's around 50. Now that is not with the elementary,
Right.
so that would bump it up maybe 10 more. So probably around 60. But again, given the space here, they do have room for further expansion. It's easy to say, hey, give us more seats, but they're also governed by the funding that they
Sure.
get from the districts to provide teachers, counselors, aides, those types of things.
So 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or just 4th and 5th?
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mrs. Dorman. She's confirmed 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
We done an estimate on what this will do utility costs for us? Will it significantly increase our utility costs?
Yeah, so the coming up with the amount for the YMCA and for these guys to use the building, we went back and looked at our average utility costs when the building was in full swing. And then what our average utility cost was at the beginning of this year when no one was here, and we took that difference. And essentially what we're charging them is that difference to say, look, we're not going to charge you 100% of the utility costs. That's not fair. We're still here using the building, right? But the average between when no kids are here and when 100% of the kids were here, we did that cost broken down by square footage, and then based on the amount of square footage they're using, that's how we came up with the number there for us to use to help us cover the utilities that they would increase it by.
Would the Millsboro SRO have to cover this school also?
No, Scope has their own SRO.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
SRO or constable?
It's a constable. Sorry, that's right. Scope has their own constable. That's correct. Sorry.
They did indicate that they have an SRO that they have for the district. I'm sorry, that's where we provided our own confusion. It's a state police officer that covers the entire district. So my understanding is he was responding to, in the rare circumstances when they had a situation at Roxana, so I'm assuming he or she would handle here
I
as well.
think we need that for safety purposes.
They have their own SRO contract. Yes, constable.
Any other questions? Okay, anybody like to make a motion, 7.06?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the SCOPE program at the Millsboro Middle School as proposed.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion, have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
7.07, Sussex Land Trust.
Yeah, yes, sure. I was able to contact, as Mrs. Wright said, the Sussex County State Forester, and this Laura Upham. So we went ahead and scheduled a site visit for Wednesday, August 19th at noon to reevaluate the property and develop a new forestry management plan, including the potential for timber harvesting. And I'll be able to meet her at that time. And Mr. Dooley said he'll have the gates unlocked for us. So we'll see what that trip is like. She did mention that the state had provided us with a state forestry plan in the past. It has expired, so this will be a renewal. There's no charge. And that there had been timber harvesting in the past, and if it looks like we can, something going forward, then that's something we continue to do and hopefully generate some income on the property. So I'll update you when that meeting occurs.
Thank you. Any questions?
Great.
7.08 Sussex Central High School Aquaculture Building.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
On board docs, you will find the revised estimate sheet, which Brad Callen has put together. Brad can't be here tonight. However, Bob Blyman with RYJ is here in his place. If there are any inquiries regarding the quoted prices. Regarding the request for a restroom, we spoke to the school program instructors who said that they did not desire to lose floor space to a restroom since students can go next door. They also, we just kind of talked amongst us that the concept of adding a restroom in the ag building was that kind of satisfied that to put a restroom back there in that barn area or the farm area for the restaurants to use, the students to use. They did request that a floor drain be added, so that price for that adder is included on the pricing. Brad also investigated connecting the buildings via a breezeway of sorts. However, that scenario brings the fire marshal's requirements for fire systems into play since you're technically connecting the buildings and making them one building. Additionally, Dan Mann, there was a question about security and data. Dan Mann is still pursuing a quote for a data closet adder to be located in the maintenance building or the ag building. So the request for the consideration tonight is to move forward with this building using a portion of the remaining major cap funds.
Do
So
you have a comment on there? I'm not sure when you spoke to whoever, but when I had a conversation with the ag people in there, they still are interested in having the restroom. They don't want the restroom to take up the space that they have now, but instead of connecting the two, which their concern was if they're there on any day or get called to go there and the ag is not there, then that means either one, somebody's got to give them a key or somebody's got to go there to let them in. So when I spoke with them recently, they would entertain the fact that we made it attached to the building instead of attaching the two buildings, take that and put it to the back of it. And so you would already have a wall there. So you'd be doing 3 walls and a door.
That's, Mr. Dooley, that's different than what we had talked about, and I want to make sure we give it the time and energy.
Yes.
As to, do we bring that back to committee and then have that discussion to flush it out? Because I think they need to be part of that.
Well, and he asked, and I said tonight, because they're busy, they're, at the fair, and that message was relayed. So
we want to get it right.
Yes.
It's a lot of money, so.
You want to make a motion? Let's rate table this then?
Well, I don't want to table the beginning of whatever needs to be done as far as the construction. However, I would not agree to the connection of the two buildings and using one restroom there. So I don't know how you want to handle it for them to be able to move forward, or if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know if they can move forward without a good option that the board's okay with.
So we need a board approval to spend that amount of money, right, on the project. Delays or like waiting another month for approval, what it's doing is it's a long lead item, right? So it's not like we can order a pole barn and have it out there in a few weeks. So this is going to be several months of construction. So every month that goes by, it's just putting us later into the fall and into the winter.
So is it, let me offer this. We have an idea of what the cost will be for the building. It is monies that are available through major cap. Can we consult back with our ag team? Not exceed what is currently within the budget, but attempt to meet their needs with a restroom in the facility based on our discussion here tonight. We can, Mr. Steele, if it's all right, we can take authorization of that and be able to continue moving forward and not exceed the expenditures that were already on the table.
Okay, we need to put that in form of a motion.
So I'll make a motion that we use the where they were doing the new Oyster Building, the total to be 305,592 for tonight, but that does not, and I'm assuming that does not, and help me, does that include the bathroom the way it was supposed, you were gonna connect the two?
The 305 price,
Yes.
305 is just the building itself.
Okay.
So the added
So-
bathroom is 3571 down at the bottom.
That is correct.
To
So
put
you
it
would
into
add-
the existing building.
To put it into the buildings, you would add the 35.
Down at the bottom, right?
About 340.
And that would be
Probably more
attached.
That we're gonna be an add-on on the outside, correct?
Right, so it also changes the
Yeah.
square footage of the building, which I don't know what the square footage of the building is, but it now puts us into the fire marshal realm. We have
Well,
to get the fire marshal realm.
I would just put it on record here to say now, we have that funding. I believe that we should go ahead. We've done it for every other part of the new Sussex Central High School that we have. Whenever something needed to be changed, change orders were done and it was taken care of and the funding came from the referendum. I believe, according to Mr. Brad Cowan, there was money that was still available, so I would like to see us entertain that square footage for what is needed for those people, for it to be connected outside and not use up their square footage within the building for its purpose.
So they stay above that. They above that off the building.
Right, attached.
Yes.
So what's your motion is to approve the bathroom? Is that what?
The bathroom to be attached, not the, just like if this was their square footage here, they don't want the bathroom. to
We don't
come
have
in
a
and
cost
take-
for that, though.
I'm
It's
sorry.
down at the bottom at
But
3570.
that's inside the pole. That's inside, not outside.
Oh,
They're
that's not
saying-
bumping it out
35 is inside.
inside,
So you
okay.
could either have the bathroom or you could have the door and the drain because of the location of where everything is gonna be. That's what causes the issue of not being able to have everything.
Okay.
And
So
you don't know the cost of of a bathroom outside. But you think it would be more than 35,000?
Yes, it's gonna be, now you have to be.
Wow, that's a lot for a
And
bathroom.
you'd need a slab, you'd need the additional building enclosure for it.
Okay.
So it's gonna be another $20,000-$30,000 probably on the high end.
We
On
need
top of that.
insulation too.
Right.
And I mean, when it was originally designed, it was designed without a bathroom because there's a bathroom nearby.
Correct. It was designed because my understanding from the people there, it was, they weren't gonna put a bathroom in there because we needed to save because of the cost of it. But continually, month after month, we hear Mr. Collins say there's funding available. So when we had the conversation about a bathroom, the comment was, if we keep it the way it is over in the ag part of it now, and something went wrong in the middle of the night and the oyster people had to be there and they had to they needed to use the bathroom. Keeping in mind, we have males and females, then they would have no access to that unless they got a key to the maintenance building.
So we understand that the funding situation on the project. So we're estimating that there's approximately, say, $700,000 of major cap funds available. And we've been carrying a line item of $350,000 for this piece, for this ag oyster harvesting building. So Then we sharpened the pencils and came back with the final estimate around 305,000, and then there's some adders, which if we adopt them all, kicks it back up to around 350. Well, let's say the additional monies take it to $400,000. There's money available, there's major cap money available on the project. So now the school is coming up with like a wish list of possibilities for what to do with still the remaining money. So it eats into that, but there is sufficient funds on the project
Okay.
to easily do the project, to do this piece of it.
Do you expect any other additional funds or anything else additional to come to this building once it's done? Or will there be additional expenses that you're expecting? Sidewalk?
The oyster.
Uh-huh, yeah, just
building
this
loan?
pole barn that we're looking at.
So Brad has included contingency amounts because usually, you know, when you're doing construction projects, this was unexpected. I mean, we're going to be digging a foundation, you know, you're going to be putting a pipe in the ground. So these are things that come up. So yeah, he has included contingency for such things.
So
To
Joe,
cover the normal change orders.
We're at 303, but with the bathroom, probably around 350 back to the original amount, correct? Around in that area.
Correct.
And that's with the bathroom bumping out, not taking any of the space that they need.
That price could go up.
To-
How it's designed.
Possibly,
25, 30. You're gonna have to add heaters, you're gonna have to add. The design of the building could change for construction.
so you're talking 370, 380.
Something in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And we have 700 available.
Correct. And Brad Callen's probably going to bring the thing in around 330. Because that's what he does and he's good. In other words, if we say it's going to be 370, don't be surprised if Brad's, you know, hey, I got it down to 330.
The line item you had for this building was 350, correct?
That's the number we've been budget carrying, yes.
So all the other items that are on the wish list or that they need, I should say, they still need for the building or want? What are we doing?
So the last one we added,
I don't think she's talking about those. I think you're just talking about other things that.
Other things that Brad has that people are asking for.
Yeah, those are in development. Like since we came to this point a couple months ago and knew that there'd be additional major cap funds, we asked the school to, what else would you want that would qualify for the major cap funding? And they've given us a list. We haven't priced any of that yet.
This is the one that was removed from the project early on that, you know, we had wanted to be part of this as the aquaponics as part of the big picture, so.
Right, so bathroom is a need, it's not a want. So I think this is important.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the 305,592 price tag and leave open the discussion of the bathroom for future.
Are we able to do that?
Well, the square footage is gonna have to be taken into consideration. She'll take it beyond the 305.
We can get a PO to.
Yeah, I hate to say this too. Design's gonna have to come in back. Pause.
But you know, I go back again to the point that had the comment not been made about saving money, the bathroom would have been put on there where it needed to go. And we wouldn't be going down this road. We didn't do it on any of the other ones when we did maintenance buildings and when we did the rest of the ag buildings. So, you know, just putting it out there for them.
If I look at it this way,
Advocating for football fields will advocate for ag.
if we don't put the bathroom in now, then we approve 305 for the building. You're gonna go design the building and then all of a sudden, now we want the bathroom, so it's gonna be a redesign cost in doing that. I agree. I would just put the darn bathroom in now and just put the bathroom in now and let it go at that. The other things we can discuss if we have to. That's generally my feeling.
so do you want the bathroom inside or on the outside?
I put it inside.
Well, then you're
They don't
taking.
wanna-
Well, no, hold on a second. This will be a bump out on the building, right?
Right.
Right, that's what
Okay.
they need, right?
Not
Isn't
the
that what
hallway,
they
not
said they
taking
wanted?
up the
I was
floor
thinking the
space.
outside was gonna be the walkway. We don't want the walkway. Okay. I don't have an issue with that.
But they
I think
definitely
when you
need the
design that
floor
building,
drain.
you better have it designed right. If
Right.
You're gonna pay a redesign fee.
And along the same lines, when you said additional, and I think.
They need
Dr.
the
Jones
floor
was wrong.
drain.
With
Mhm.
them too. So that is the basic. So when we get to it, it's like every other project. So they may, when they get it up and running and before they use all the funds, they may need rates. You know, they may need stairways to go up to, or, you know, I won't call us the platforms to go. So that's not to say that's cut and dried when this is done.
So considering the cost is 305, 592. You're gonna add the floor drain. The HVAC,
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
is that door needed?
That's what we were just discussing.
Yeah, that's what we were just discussing. So if you're gonna add the bathroom at the outside, I think the door, as long as you have proper access and egress, I don't think it's needed. I think it's just an extra to go along with that floor drain, because it's in that space where the bathroom is gonna be. So you have a door outside to go to the next building. So if you're gonna have the bathroom on the inside, you technically don't need that door.
Okay.
The ducted HVAC, there's sufficient HVAC in the building now. This one would just this one would add ductwork and more industrial units into the space to allow the space to be better tempered for a simple estimation.
Right.
The wall units that are going in there now will temper the building with no problem at all. That extra is just to help it in case of future expansion or anything else.
Okay. So without the bathroom added, we're still looking at least 330.
Correct.
And then you add the bathroom.
And
That's
so the
pretty
floor
much what you
drain
would have to approve.
and the floor drain.
That's included in that 330.
Correct.
But not the additional HVAC? Because you're saying we don't necessarily need the,
Take the place. of-
That's so you don't need it, but I mean. You have it.
That's not,
Totally up to you.
It's not.
Oh.
Hold on a second, guys. Let's get back on. We got the 2-3 conversations. We got to stay here because I'm starting to hear different things and I'm starting to get a little bit confused. So let's take this from the top. We know the building right now, just the building's 305, correct? If we have a bathroom that's going to be bumped on the outside of that building without having a covered wall going from one building to the other, that's going to add an additional 35,000 roughly. Roughly. Along with that, we take away $2,000 from the door that we would no longer need.
Well, that price is not included. It's not. It's not
Okay.
included in the 305.
Okay, how about the drain?
That's one. So you have 35 and 8. And then the HVAC is a toss-up.
why is that a toss up?
Building is sufficient with what it has. If you added this ductwork, it just helps distribute the air.
Do you recommend it or no?
If the district wants it, then I would recommend it.
yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know where the deducted HVAC
It
adder
was in
came from.
it was in the original design.
Okay.
We took it out for cost saving measures.
So we're still around 370 to 380, which
Yeah.
is what I came up with earlier.
And the funding is there if we want to do that.
Out of the 700.
Is the building administration aware and okay spending that?
We discussed it last time. What was said in the executive committee was executive at the school where we discussed was they wanted to talk with the ag team to see, because what they had heard was they didn't want to take up any space. And they thought it was sufficient with having one at the other building or having the restroom inside. We've got some additional information tonight, so I think we can move forward with attempting this, given the funding that we've discussed. The administration is relied heavily on the ag department. They're veteran folks, they know what they need. So I think we can trust that we would discuss with them and get the building where it needs to be. We've come before this board with large scale change orders, which this is, the hundreds of thousands, and we don't want to just take this and go with it without getting the.
Yeah, you would be our, in my opinion, our ag expert sitting around this desk tonight. Of this, if I were to say to you, what do you think we need to do tonight to get this moving? What would you suggest?
Now that I don't have any clue on, because I mean, if there was a building there, we're definitely gonna do the building as it is,
Right?
right?
So we're
So all you're gonna
305.
do is add on to the outside of it, so you would go with the building, I would think you would go with the building for the total of what they're saying, with the understanding that there's gonna be an additional cost for the bathroom. So it
Objective
doesn't
with
stop
the
you
bump
from
out.
doing
And the drain.
whatever, you're not gonna order any bigger building, it's still gonna be the same building, you're just gonna add to it. It's like building your house and then all of a sudden deciding you want a car garage attached to it. I mean, that's my scenario.
We also have an ace in the hole. We also have many meetings coming up in August. We also have a retreat on the 17th.
Right.
That we can do some school business as long as we post what we're gonna discuss. I know we'll have a personnel addendum or agenda, so we can, go ahead and we could approve the building tonight, get more information, get more of our questions answered at the committee meeting, and we could actually vote on the additions on the 17th. That's about a 2, maybe 3 week expense. Joe, would that work?
Yes.
Fine.
But we need to make sure that the drain and the plan for the bump out is included.
It's not included right now.
The 305 for just.
That's right. Right now, we would just be taking in consideration the building itself. So that they can start, and then we'll come back on the 17th. And if we want to look at the things that they have listed below, the add alternates, then we can add those in at that particular time if we need to.
Do we need a motion for that?
Building that quick.
Yeah, I think we need a motion to move forward with just the building.
I make a motion that we move forward with the building as presented, with the understanding that there'll be an additional cost for the outside bathroom.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Good discussion. 7.09 Sussex Central change orders.
On your board docs for this agenda item, you will find 7 change orders which are being presented as board notifications, as they are below the dollar amounts outlined under the board's procedure for change order approval thresholds. I reviewed each of these with Dr. Owens, and they were reviewed at the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Bob Lyman with RYJ is available tonight to respond to any questions. Absent of any questions, we are requesting school board approval at this time.
Anybody have any questions? I will entertain a motion that we approve the change orders.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimous. 7.10,
Thank you.
2026-27 annual DSBA dues.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Last meeting, we were asked to provide a little bit more information. Within board docs, you have several attachments there, including the dues, priorities, core values, and membership benefits. These were provided by Mr. Tall. Mr. Tall has joined us this evening. Thank you, Mr. Tall, for hanging in there with us. I don't know if the board has any questions, but certainly if they do, we'd ask you to respond to those. The board has reviewed the attachments. And what we are considering this evening is continuation of the dues. Total is $12,790.
I want to say this. Back when I stepped over from assistant superintendent to superintendent, I worked very hard with the board to bring the DSBA back into the district. I'm not sure, Jerry, y'all could tell me a little bit. I'm not sure how long we stopped with the DSBA. I know there were some issues and stuff that some of the board members were having, but having a better understanding as superintendent as what the DSBA does, for the school boards to keep us informed and updated on legislative issues alone, I always felt was well worth joining that organization. I think that was John Marinucci at the time, I think, was in charge of that, and he came to a board meeting and talked to the board, and we went back with the DSBA association. And I think it's a valuable organization for us to stay with. I think it's valuable in the information they get, the training they give. And if we ever need a question, I know we pick the phone up and call Mr. Tall.
I've been here once before
I know.
when I first took this job.
I remember.
And if I could,
Floor is yours.
first of all, thank you for having me. Good evening, President Steele, Dr. Owens, and all the other board members. I'm glad to be here. I'm here to serve. I represent everybody that's on this board and also on all the other boards throughout the state. There's 19 school districts. Right at the moment, we have 17 that are actually officially members of our organization. Okay? Indian River has been associated with DSBA, according to my records that have been passed down to me, for a long, long time. And we thank you. DSBA thanks you for your support and dedication for DSBA and what we do. My records go back when consolidation happened in 1969. That's when you became, the board at that time became members of DSBA. Before that, when we had a lot of other districts before consolidation, there were a lot of these little districts that are in the Indian River district area, but they were also members of DSBA because DSBA started and organized back in 1946. This is our 80th year, 2026. And we joined the national organization, that is NSBA, in 1952. And we are affiliated with them and strongly. I serve on a number of committees with the national organization at this time. And I can tell you they are fully behind us here in this state, even though we're one of the smallest across the country. But state associations, there's one from every state. And I'm a one-man operation. And as I said, we are one of the smaller ones, but we are well known, believe me. Also, I'll point out this. Indian River's been with us for a long time. One of your board members from the past, Charlie Burley. Barley, excuse me, I'm sorry for the pronunciation of that. He was president of DSBA when I first started going to DSBA meetings. So we've worked together a long time, and I hope it continues. As I already said, I told you that we started in 1946 and joined the national. But the purpose of this association is to encourage and foster unity of thought and action of school boards and to further the educational interest of the state. One function of the association is to study the educational needs along with the proposal and or support of legislative to provide for them. I can tell you this past year is one of the best years that I've seen, that we've gotten the most benefit from the people in Dover. We have legislative priorities that we set up every year, DSBA. One of those for a number of years now has been that one about that famous give back money. Well, it finally was restored this year. $26 million does not have to come out of these districts. I don't know what off the hand, what your amount that you will start getting because of this restoration of it, but it happened. And it's because I feel that we've been there. And I'll tell you another thing, the superintendents and this organization, DSBA, and the group DSA, the superintendents, we work together. very cooperative partnership. They send a representative to all our meetings, our board of directors, our legislative committee meetings. We're divided into two basic committees. The board of directors does the business. The board of directors of the association consists of one representative from each local board that belongs to DSBA. This body meets on a statewide basis at least 5 times a year for the purpose of conducting the association business. There is also an annual meeting of the membership held each year for the purpose of making awards and receiving annual reports, coming up in about a week and a half. And you've all received invitation to that. I've gotten RSPs, I think, from 2 people already on this board. I hope there's more. The other standing committee of the association is the legislative committee. This committee also consists of a representative of each local board as well as the state, or excuse me, no, each local board. The body meets on a regular basis in conjunction with the legislative calendar in order to establish the legislative priorities of the association for legislative session. As we are a private, this is important, as a private and a nonprofit IRS certified 501-C4 organization, DSBA is not affiliated or enabled or created by any state agency or state of Delaware statute. Your DSBA supports local school boards, their districts and initiatives, as well as provides technical assistance to board members and administrators. Going back to the some benefits, every board has a seat on the DSBA board of directors. I want to point out one thing here. That committee is weighted voting to determine by the size of the district and range from 1 to 5 votes. Indian River, since you're one of the larger ones, has 3 votes on the board of directors. At the moment, we have 2 districts that have 5 votes. And it's all because of what the unit count is for those particular districts. I think there's 2 or 3 others that have 3 votes. There's one that has 4. There's about 4 or 5 that have 2, and the rest of them have 1 vote. So when you're in the board of directors, if you have consensus with some of the other groups, when it comes down to an actual vote, or we have to do a roll call, that one person that's voting there that night gets 3 votes. Now, the legislative committee doesn't work that way. Each representative gets 1 vote. But the board of directors is also the final decision on what happens in the legislative committee also. And I've seen that happen a couple of times since I've been executive director, where the legislative committee made a decision on how to take a position on a particular bill. But in that meeting, there was a lot of consensus and kind of a split vote. And then when it came time to approve the minutes, the board of directors makes the final decision to approve the minutes from the legislative committee. They discussed that one particular bill and changed the position that the legislative committee did. Any questions on how any of that works? You should have gotten documents that, one thing I noticed in reading these again before I came here tonight, there's a couple of things that I need to change in that. But you automatically, if you're a member of DSBA, you're a member of NSBA and receive all the benefits of that organization. You can go to their conferences and get the best prices. I've been to about 12 I think this year is going to be 13 conferences, national conferences, all across the country. Great time. Good time to meet other people and see how they're working across the country. I've had some fabulous discussions with people just coming down the elevator in the hotel. One time I was talking to a lady from Alaska. It was interesting, believe me. One other thing I'll say about the NSBA is I've noticed in the last year or 2 years, they've reorganized a little bit too. And they've got a guy now, Dr. Moss, who advocates for them in DC and for us. And he fills up my emails every day with what's going on over there in DC. Training, that's another benefit. We offer clinics. Due process training is offered at our boot camp. We have boot camp training for new board members that we just had this past week or so. Individual training as requested. I'll do individual training. If someone wants to do it, all you got to do is let me know. Policy, mandated policy language. We're the state legislative advocacy. We advocate in Legislative Hall. I've tried not to miss a single legislative education meetings, or that's the House or the Senate. National legislative advocacy, I've already mentioned, give legislative updates all the time. Have you seen our, I know some of you have, seen the packet that shows all the bills that are in like the 153rd General Assembly?
No.
She's smiling over there. She's seen it. Miss Klein. The other thing we changed this year, because board docs is kind of being phased out, changed to diligent community. That's been somewhat kind of a headache with me trying to get everybody's bills and everything straight, but it's all working out. I think it's a better product. It might be a little more expensive, but I think it will serve the purpose. And DSBA, in your favor, negotiated the best price that we could get in partnership with Diligent Corporation, just as we did with board docs years ago. Networking, media communication, corporate membership, these are all benefits. Like I said, I'm here to serve. And if there's a question, is there a question about the dues and how that's calculated?
Yeah, I have
or
quite a
anything?
few questions, but I'll let you, I have quite a few questions, but I'll let you finish.
Pardon?
I have quite a few questions, but I'll let you go ahead and finish.
Well, I was just going to mention that the other thing, DSBA, we have not, in the last 6 years, 3 of mine, or now 4, because I've just approved and got the approval from the board of directors, we have not increased the dues for districts to pay to DSBA to belong for 6 years. There's a multiplication factor that is used, and that is 11. It's been 11 for 6 years. Before that, it was 13.0. This is back when John Marinucci was there. And it stayed 13.0 for 1 year. And back before that, it was 13.5. That goes back to 2016, 2017. So back in 2016, 17, it's 13.5. It stayed that way for 4 years. We reduced it to 13.0 for 1 year, and then we decided to reduce it to 11.1. And And that's the way it's been for the last 11 or 6 years, excuse me, at 11. And I think in the way things are looking, I'll predict I don't see an increase for this next year either. Now, as far as the dues for Indian River, yes, your dues this year is 12,790, I think is what the invoice said. And it's based on the number of units that I take from what is reported from the state of Delaware, from the unit count on September the 30th. And this year, I think you had 862.17 units. Now, last year you had 879. So last year's dues was a little higher. Now, I said the dues hasn't changed or increased, but the only way it is going to increase is a few dollars because every district's unit count might change from one year to the next in these 6 previous years that I've been talking about. So in summary, I think I've said enough.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And I thank every one of you, everybody on this board and everybody that's been with Indian River before, because we have worked together for a number of years. Thank you.
That works. Somebody ask some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
right.
Tull, for
Okay.
coming. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, very nice to meet you and
Nice to
thank
meet
you
you.
for coming. So my questions were, when we were looking at the dues, as you know, how high they are, relatively speaking, almost $13,000. And you know, we're in a situation right now at our district where we're looking at every single expenditure. And I guess we
I
just,
understand that.
yeah, and we just raised I guess some raises that cost almost $11,000. So looking at this, I was just wondering, you know, what it is that we get in return for being a member of the DSBA, which you provided. And I have to say, a lot of what you said and provided, I was completely unaware of. I did not hear or see any of these actions that you speak of. So I did not receive any like written reports of what legislative actions were taken. We do get reports once a month, but I can't say from my perspective that they were entirely informative or useful. We got a list of bills that, you know, I guess that somehow you were working on, but what I didn't see were accomplishments and actions that benefited the board. So for me to say to our taxpayers that we want you to spend almost $13,000 when a lot of these things, I guess coordinating with other districts is something we already do. We already have a superintendent's coalition. We already have a district attorney who can help us with this. And also there's actually there's actually now an app for Delaware where you can do look up bills on education, which does a lot of this. What I would like to see are the districts, the school districts unified and make unified statements to our state government, you know, things that we need, whether it's energy prices and bills and other things that we're struggling with. And that's a lot of what I didn't see from the DSBA. I don't know if maybe I was just missing it, or maybe we can get more detailed reports. Also, you mentioned training, things like that. I don't know if I've ever even seen those offered. I did get an invitation to the boot camp. I didn't attend, but I got the packets. But beyond that, and I don't know how many of us attended conferences or took advantage of this. So I'm just wondering if it's something that we really need to spend as a district almost $13,000 on. And I guess I didn't know that there were 2 districts who didn't participate. And I would like to know what those 2 districts are, and maybe, you know, find out what their experience has been, how mandatory this is for us, and possibly even revisit not subscribing to the dues this year and seeing how the year goes. So those were some of my concerns and questions.
Well, if you ever had a chance to look at the bill status spreadsheet
No, I have
that I
not.
put out, your legislative committee
Haven't
representative
received any of
sees
those.
those. The board of directors sees them. I send it out to all. I don't send it out to every board member, but if you want to get one, I can put you on my list to get it, to see it.
I mean, I
I
just.
mean, we're
got
not
the-
trying to hide
it-
anything, and it shows exactly what position the legislative committee took and what the board of directors finally decided if they were going to agree with that position. And it also shows how it's worked through the legislative hall. And what it did, it's got to go through both chambers. It's got to get out of committee first. And all that is spelled out in the spreadsheet for every bill. That spreadsheet, I think, is up to about 80 or 90 pages. Now, we just finished legislative General Assembly 153rd. We'll be starting 154th in September. And the General Assembly goes for 2 years.
Yeah, again, sounds useful. Haven't seen it. I don't know if it's something that needs to be shared with every board member. But if you have documentation like that, I think that would be useful for us to see.
Like I said, I'll be happy to do that.
I will say, Mr. Briggs, I believe you went through each one of those with us.
Like everything we go.
And the action
for
that the committee,
month,
and the action that the
the
committee took.
bill, you know, number, what the action was that we took, the vote.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah, I think the problem with
Most
that,
people, you know, write it down. You can go to legis.gov to read further into the bills, but as far as what we bring at legislative.
well, I think
committee-
seeing it in writing would be a lot more useful than reading bills. So if that's available in writing, I think that would be a lot more helpful.
You said something about trainings. This past November, we had a district training session instead of our regular normal board of director meetings in November. We had a meeting at in Dover at Crescenzo's Pizza Place.
It's very
Yeah,
nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you go to our national conventions, like I said. Yeah,
Do you
there's a little-
email those out to board members? Or does,
You should be getting it, yes.
I mean, I am on your email list. So I don't know, maybe some of that should go out through the email
Well,
list.
And I know quite sure that when you became a board member, you got an invitation to come to the board camp. boot
I
camp.
did get that invitation. I
You
got the
missed that
packet.
one, I can tell you. I'm sorry, I have to say that. Because there's good training.
And to see training regularly would be great too. And I'm
We
not
try to do
discounting
as
what
much
you
as we
do. I
can.
just
Like I
haven't
said, I'm
seen
a
it.
one-person operation here. And it all takes time to
So-
get something scheduled and
Mr.
and
Paul,
worked out.
I'm gonna say this, I worked with this organization a long time. And I appreciate what you do.
Thank you, sir.
I know you don't have a lot of help. I know Mr. Marinucci didn't have a lot of help when I was a superintendent.
He was by
And
himself
it, and
too.
it is a one-person job that's very difficult to coordinate with, like you said, 17 out of 19 school districts. It's a lot of
I
information.
mean, when
that
John
comes
came
in.
on board, we had an office in Dover. But when we hired him, I was on the committee to hire him. And I knew when he walked in there that day, I knew he was our man. And he came in and he straightened out a few things. We closed the Dover office because we had to tighten up and make our budget meet our expenses and income. So he offered to have DSBA offices at his place in Harrington. And it stayed there for 7 years until he retired about 3 years ago when I took over.
Mr.
And,
Tall, I want to say thank you for coming this evening, and I didn't know if there was something as a board we can be doing to take action, not just talk about it, take action to help support different legislations, different laws to go through in supporting our schools.
Well, we're open to any suggestion or backing. I mean, you're welcome to come to Legislative Hall and be there with us. I mean, I've had some board members come when we were talking about a particular bill. And
I didn't know if you had any ideas other than attending.
well, we just elected a new legislative committee chairman because the one that was the chairman, Matt Bucher from Milford, is running for representative in the House. So he dropped off, and the board of directors, we decided to bring in Jonathan Snow from Smyrna. That was my recommendation, and the board agreed with me. And he's got some good ideas. And I think there's going to be some changes coming with that also.
Mr. Steele, if all questions have been answered, I'd like to make a motion to approve the annual dues for the DSBA.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Hold the board, please.
Mrs. Briggs,
Thank you so much.
Mr. Cathell,
Yes.
Mrs. Klein,
Yes.
Dr. Parsons,
No.
Mr. Peden,
Yes.
Mr. Steele,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Mrs. West Warner,
Yes.
Mrs. Wright.
Yes.
That's 8 yes, 1 no, and 0 abstentions.
Motion passes unanimous. Not unanimous. Motion passes major vote. Thank you very much.
Thank
For your
you.
time and patience this evening.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy. I
Thank
know
you.
I've been there before, I can tell you.
Moving on, 7.11, parent survey. We'll go over to Ms. Taylor.
Okay, so we have been working since last fall to develop surveys for our staff, for our administration, principals and assistant principals, for our supervisors, for our directors, and for interviewing the cabinet, and also now for our parents. And then University of Delaware takes care of our students with a survey for them. So we're gathering all this information to kind of put a puzzle together to get valuable information to move forward in creating action plans, hopefully at our board retreat. We'll be talking about common themes that we're seeing throughout all these surveys. This evening, we'd like to review the Indian River School District Parent Survey. Everybody got a handbook that looks like this that we're going to ask you to just review and look through, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with a lot of the parents' replies. So we'll go through this evening briefly, and Mr. Peden has offered to be in Mr. Neal's place and helping us out here. And Mr. Steele, Mr. Neal and I are on the survey committee, and we work together with the board. So I'll go ahead with the first one. Please identify your preferred channel to receive school news and announcements. By a majority, it looks like 46.4% like text and 43.4% like email. So parents prefer that venue of communication. Hey, Mr.
Peden?
I am satisfied with the frequency of updates for my child's school. And overwhelmingly 51% said 5, 26% rated it a 4.
Go ahead and read the next part, Mr. Peden.
I am satisfied with the frequency of updates for my child's school. Overall sentiment is moderately positive. Parents recognize that the district communicates frequently and value many of the existing communication tools. However, they would like communication to become more timely, more transparent during emergencies, more relative to their child, more consistent across schools and teachers, and delivered through fewer, better coordinated platforms.
Was interesting to see that the text messaging and I thought the phone would be closer to the top, but it's not. Seems like the text message and the other contacts we have tend to be more relevant. All right, moving along. I feel the information provided by my child's school is clear, relevant, and easy to understand. And approximately 84% agree with that statement. Overall sentiment is positive and clear opportunities for improvement. Parents generally find district communication understandable and appreciate regular updates. However, they want communication that are more detailed, more relevant to their family, more consistent across schools and staff, delivered with greater advance notice, and more transparent regarding student safety, discipline, and important school events.
Next question. I feel that my child is safe during the school day, which is critically important to parents. And it was really great that 92% approximately said yes, they felt that way. I feel that my child is safe during the school day. Overall sentiment is cautiously positive but concerned. Parents generally trust the district's physical security measures and appreciate the investment in school safety personnel and security infrastructure. However, there is a strong and recurring concern that student behavior, bullying, violence, vaping, and inconsistent discipline pose the greatest threats to student safety. Many parents are seeking stronger behavioral interventions, more consistent consequences, improved supervision, and more transparent communication whenever significant safety incidents occur, all things that we as a board believe in. So I think that's great that they agree with us.
I believe campus security measures are adequate. Over 95% agree. Overall sentiment is positive but cautious. Parents generally believe the district has invested in meaningful physical security measures and appreciate the presence of SROs, constables, and weapon detection systems. At the same time, many feel that security is only as effective as its consistent implementations, and they would like stronger enforcement of existing procedures, expanded security measures at all schools and events, increased staffing, and greater transparency about how safety concerns are addressed. Parents also consistently emphasize that improving student behavior and discipline is just as important as strengthening physical security.
I believe my child's learning environment is positive and conducive to learning. Again, another high percentage, approximately 90-some% of the parents rated this a 3, 4, or a 5. Overall sentiment is moderately positive, but highly substantial challenges. Parents overwhelmingly recognize and appreciate the dedication of many teachers who are often viewed as the greatest strength of the district. At the same time, they believe student behavior, inconsistent classroom management, excessive reliance on technology, and insufficient support for both struggling and advanced learners are limiting the quality of the learning environment. Many respondents emphasize that addressing behavioral issues would have the single greatest impact on improving teaching and learning across the district.
The next question, I feel that discipline-related classroom interruptions hinder my child's learning. As you can see, this graph looks very different than the others across the board. Some agree and some disagree. I feel that discipline-related classroom interruptions hinder my child's learning. Overall sentiment is strongly concerned. Parents largely agree that classroom discipline has become one of the greatest barriers to student learning. While teachers are generally viewed as committed and doing their best, respondents believe district discipline, policies, administrative support, and behavioral interventions need significant improvement. The most common recommendation was to provide stronger consequences for repeated disruptive behavior while ensuring students with intensive behavioral needs receive appropriate interventions in settings that allow both them and their classmates to succeed academically.
My child has a clear understanding of the school rules and consequences of breaking those rules. Over 95% agree. Overall sentiment is cautiously positive regarding student understanding of expectations, but negative regarding consistency of enforcement. Parents generally believe students know the rules and understand what is expected of them. However, many feel the credibility of those expectations is weakened when consequences are perceived as inconsistent, unevenly applied, or insufficient to address repeated misconduct. Respondents consistently emphasize that applying rules fairly and consistently across all students would strengthen both student accountability and confidence in the disciplinary process.
I expect my child to follow all school rules and to accept the consequences if they do not. And this was overwhelming when you take a look at it. And again, about 90, almost 96% support that particular statement. Overall sentiment is highly supportive of the school discipline and accountability. Parents overwhelmingly expect their children to follow school rules and accept appropriate consequences when expectations are not met. At the same time, respondents consistently stress that discipline must be fair, consistently applied, clearly communicated, and proportionate to behavior. Many also emphasize that the strongest outcomes occur when schools and families work together to reinforce expectations and accountability.
I'm satisfied with the curriculum and educational materials used in my child's school. Approximately 88% of parents agreed with that. And thank you to our curriculum directors. Overall sentiment is cautiously positive, but indicates a strong desire for instructional improvement. Parents appreciate successful programs such as CKLA, the IB program, and many dedicated teachers, but they overwhelmingly want less dependence on technology, more rigorous and engaging instruction, expanded opportunities for advanced learners, stronger support for diverse learning needs, increased transparency about curriculum, and greater emphasis on foundational academics and practical life skills, bringing it back to the basics.
Mr. Pete?
I lost the pages, or page 20?
21.
21. I am satisfied with the overall teaching effectiveness at my child's school. It was overwhelmingly over 90% agree. Overall sentiment is positive toward teachers, but identifies systematic challenges that limit instructional effectiveness. Parents overwhelmingly believe that teachers are one of the district's greatest strengths and are committed to helping students succeed. However, respondents also feel teachers would be more effective with greater classroom support, stronger behavioral interventions, more instructional flexibility, reduced reliance on technology, improved communications with families, and additional resources to meet diverse needs of all learners.
Feel that my child is meeting their learning goals or progressing as expected. Again, we have about a 92% agreement, support. Overall sentiment is moderately positive with clear opportunities for improvement. Parents generally believe their children are progressing academically and appreciate the dedication of many teachers and support staff. However, respondents consistently express their desire for higher academic expectations, stronger support for both advanced learners and students with disabilities, improved communication with families, less reliance on technology, and more individualized instruction to ensure every student reaches their full academic potential.
I feel there are enough opportunities for me to be involved in my child's school. About 87% agreed. Overall sentiment is moderately positive with substantial opportunities for improvement. Parents value being involved in their children's education and appreciate schools that actively encourage family engagement. However, respondents consistently expressed a desire for more volunteer opportunities, earlier communication, greater parent involvement beyond the elementary level, more welcoming school cultures, and increased flexibility for working families. Many parents emphasize that stronger school-family partnerships would benefit both student success and the overall school's community.
I feel teachers are accessible for discussing my child's progress. Overwhelmingly over 95% agree. Overall sentiment is positive. Parents generally believe teachers are accessible and willing to communicate, particularly in the elementary level, and they appreciate the availability of digital communication tools. However, respondents would like more consistent responsiveness across all teachers, more proactive communications throughout the year, stronger communication at the middle and high school levels, and additional opportunities for meaningful parent-teacher engagements beyond problem-solving situations.
We ask for, do you have any suggestions for improving your experience as a parent in our school district? Overall sentiments, constructive and invested. Parents overwhelmingly want the district to succeed and recognize the efforts of many teachers and staff members. Across the responses, several district-wide priorities emerged consistently. Strengthen student behavior and discipline. Improve communications with families. Reduce the reliance on technology and increase teacher-led instruction. Expand academic rigor and opportunities for advanced learners. Improve special education services and supports. Increase parent involvement and transparency. Provide more resources and support for teachers. Many respondents closed by expressing their gratitude for the district's work while encouraging continued improvement in these key areas. Before I go any farther, I want to recognize the gentleman over to our left that you may not see, and I'm going to ask him to stand. Dan, if you would, Dan Mann. When we started this process, we knew it was going to be a lot of work. And he kind of got himself on the plank when he said, yeah, I can help you with that. And so what you see is we come up with the questions, and I say we tried to pull some board members to see, what some of the things we want to find out. But Mr. Neal, myself, Ms. Taylor have worked on the questions. Mr. Pete, thank you for stepping in for Mr. Neal this evening. And, we've tried to keep the board abreast, and we've tried to make changes up to this particular point. But Mr. Mann's always been ready and willing to set the survey up. So and open it up for the parents or the staff members, whoever we're surveying. And he also gives each board member a hard copy so they can review. That contains all of the parent comments, as well as the PowerPoint that you see this evening. So it's an incredible amount of work. And I just want you to know from the board, we greatly appreciate the extra support and you helping us with that. So thank you.
Above and beyond.
We really didn't see a lot of surprises. We really did not. We anticipated by looking at the surveys we've done so far, we saw a common theme. We were curious as we'd see the common theme this time, and we did. And, question is going to be, what's the next steps? Some of the things we've already started. I know I went to the Administrative Institute kickoff last week with Ms. Taylor, and I believe Ms. Briggs was there.
Mr. Neal.
And Mr. Neal was there. And during that kickoff, we had the opportunity to talk to the administrators, and we threw some expectations out of what we expected. And I know that they've changed in the elementary, the student support group, student support suite, how that's going to be handled with students that disrupt it. And we are going to look now as a board to come up with action plans that we can take a look at discipline, morale, PR, which I think is a very big one. I think we heard that as a pretty common theme with all of our groups, that we have to do a better job in getting information out to people. And then these action plans, we would like to set those up where we have a goal, an annual goal, and we would be able to take a baseline and take a look at the end of the year to see where we are. But I will say, being someone who worked with discipline a lot in the past, you will see when you make major change in your discipline policy. I warn you now, as a board member, you're going to have some parents not like it. But if we stay the course, you may see that graph go high before it starts dropping, because the students will have to understand where those expectations lie. And the parents and the students are going to have to understand that we're very serious about consequences for behavior that affects the learning environment. So we plan on continuing on with those action plans as our next step. You'll be hearing more about the action plans when we get to the 17th at the board retreat, and we'll have those broken down for you a little bit more from there. Taylor, have any?
Not at all.
Questions?
Thank you.
Moving on. 8.01 major capital planning.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. We covered quite a bit earlier in our meeting today, but I will give a couple updates The interior signage installation is complete, but awaiting the architect's final inspection. And I will say the school has identified some areas where the signs are not adhering. Or they're in the right spot, but they aren't, the adhesive is having some issues on some of those. So we brought that to their attention. We'll make sure that's rectified. Moving forward, the exterior signage installation has started. I got some pictures today. We'll bring those to the board next time. This will continue to occur over the next few weeks, with the exception of the 3 masonry entrance signs. Those are delayed by, I believe you said, Mr. Dooley, about a month or so. So we'll continue to monitor that, but the rest of the exterior signs are moving.
Questions? 9.01 monthly activities.
The in board docs is my complete activities over the last month. I would just like to acknowledge, Mr. Steele, you brought it up. Our administrative institute went really well last week. We covered a lot of ground. We had some guest speakers. Secretary Martin joined us. Delaware State Representative Dr. Halowski joined us to provide some remarks. Board members were there for the opening. We covered our instructional IRSD leadership framework, which was learning champion, belonging builder, systems strategist, and change agent. That was our theme over the course of the week. Our team dug into those. We covered policies, we covered climate, we covered those communication, marketing, and social media plans that are being developed now at the school level. We looked at our evaluation process. Our district finances were reviewed by Mr. Parker. Our attorney joined us for a couple hours and went over some of the hot topics legally that our administrators face. We had a safety tabletop forum that was facilitated by the Delaware State Police. That's a Q&A, that's a back and forth. And we got some updates from our partners at the Delaware State Police, and our school teams each afternoon were provided with some homework to go back to their schools and work collectively on plans to springboard them into the school year. So very happy with our team. I want to thank Melissa and Celeste, Kelly and Renee and Chris for their work in helping to plan for a really robust week. Again, complete reports and board docs.
Thank you. Financial reports, 10.01. Financial summaries for the month ending June 30th, 2026.
All right, good evening again. Here are our reports for the year. Our year ended at June 30th, so this isn't only just our June monthly report, this is our fiscal year in total report. So we're 100% of the way through that fiscal year. We received 101% of our total budgeted revenue, 104% of our budgeted discretionary revenue, and 101% of our budgeted local tax revenue. We received approximately $133,000 in interest during the current month. And the good news there at the bottom is that we've only spent 91% of the total budget expenses, 94% of the total discretionary expenses, and 95% of the budgeted tuition funded classroom expenses. And has spent 102%, just slightly above what their budget was. But overall, the district did very well. All the administrators and the schools did a good job this year, staying within that tight budget that we gave them at the beginning of the year. And we finished out pretty good.
Questions? I'll entertain a motion that we approve the financial summaries for the month ending June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
All-
10.02, detailed information.
Sorry. All right. Yeah. Part 2 there. So we want to point out in the detailed information there, our student activity funding balance is approximately $91,000. We have about $6.9 million in the federal funds available, and we're holding about $1.7 million in our donations and student funds internal accounts.
Questions? Entertain a motion that we approve the detailed information for the month ending June 30th.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimous. 10.03, major capital improvement operations for the month ending June 30th, 2026.
All right. For the month, our major cap outlays were $647,000. And the balance there shows 1.1 million, but as was indicated earlier, the reconciliation with RYJ is we're closer to around 700,000 after some of those POs, the timing of those POs come in.
Any questions on major capital improvement? I'll entertain a motion that will approve the major capital improvement operations for the month of June 30th.
Move to accept. the major
Second.
Reports.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimous. 10.04 minor capital improvement operations for the month ending June 30th.
All right, so through the year, we've spent and encumbered around 6.4 million in our minor capital funds with a balance of $1 million, around $1 million remaining for us to use.
I'll entertain a motion that we approve the minor cap operations for the month ending June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimous. 11.01 field trip request.
Actually, can I ask
Oh.
Mr. Parker a few questions? So were you able, I think I found it, but I wanted to confirm, last time we spoke that there was is it the energy service company that's what we spend to help the district save money on energy costs? Do I have that company correct? Because we were asking like how much that costs us annually.
Cyberlit train contract. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah, Cyberlit Train is the company it's the ESCO is the name of the agreement.
So it is ESCO. So it looks like that line item was $475,000.
So that was the annual payment where we're paying back what was borrowed to put the equipment in place that we originally got. It was like a bond, but it was through this process, this ESCO process.
Okay, so that's not what we're paying a company. That's what we're paying for energy efficient.
That's what essentially we're paying back a loan that we got to get the whatever equipment and different things that we got when this agreement initially happened.
Okay, then I guess how much is it that we pay this energy efficient company? Or to be energy efficient?
I believe it's an annual or it might be a quarterly fee. I want to say it's around 25,000. I'll have to get you better numbers to be sure for that.
Okay,
as
I
far
don't
as
know if I'm using the right terms.
Right. I think I understand what you're saying. So there's two different parts to it. There's an annual payment where we're paying back the loan for the equipment. And then there is I don't know if it's quarterly or monthly payment, but we pay for them to provide the reporting about whether or not the equipment is actually giving us the efficiencies that it promised.
Okay, because then I guess Mr. Wright and Mr. Payton said that if they're not, that we get a refund on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Dooley found the giant binder with all the agreement in it, and he started to review it last month. He's giving it to me to review. We're looking through it, but it's a lot of it. The binder is literally 6 inches thick. So we're going through it and trying to figure out what, if anything, that we can provide if they're not providing, the service that they said they could be.
Okay.
I think, when I was talking to Mr. Dooley, he pointed out though that it's going to be tough to go against what they're saying, because what they're going to say is, well, this is your bill and this is what it would have been, and so we're saving you that 10%, and that's, I don't know, that seems difficult to prove otherwise to me, but we're going to look through the paperwork and see if there's anything we can do.
Okay,
That would
no,
help us.
appreciate it. I'm sure it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then I have another question for you. So I was looking at, it looks like our energy bills, utilities, I guess some of that ESCO is in there, was like $3.7 million. And then I noticed a lot of our capital expenditures are looking at maybe replacing boilers and things like that. I was wondering if it was possible to just see if we did need to replace energy systems, to see which ones were the most efficient and cost effective. Would it be possible to look at some actual invoices from like the electricity invoices from all the different schools?
You want to look at some of the invoices that we're getting?
Yeah.
Sure. Which
Okay.
which invoices do you want to look at?
I'll give you my list.
Okay.
I'll email it. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I think the original ESCO project, and I'm using round figures, we borrowed $10 million. We were supposed to save 10%, so we would be saving 11 million, a savings of $1 million overall. I think Mr. Dooley made a comment that it wasn't going well. So if it's not going well, somehow we should be guaranteed refunds if we're not saving what that promise was.
Right. That makes sense based on what I know. But again, there's a lot of legal jargon and wording in that agreement that happened that we need to go through. So.
Thank you.
I just think I think it just needs to be thoroughly examined so we know exactly where we are.
Sure.
And hold them accountable to make sure that we're getting what we're supposed to get.
Right. Agreed.
And I agree that we need to really be cost effective if we can on energy. I know that's a huge wish, but I know you look at everything very carefully with Mr. Dooley, and I was quite shocked at how much it costs to just pay for the energy bills per building. And we don't know where energy is going to go. You know, the price is going to go up or it's going to go down according to the market. But I just know that that's a huge expense for our district.
Yeah. Agreed. And it's unfortunately a lot of it is a fixed expense that we can't do a lot about.
Right.
Other than as we replace equipment, making sure that we're replacing it with the most efficient.
Right.
And making sure we're doing, other things to make sure, that the energy is staying where it needs to stay. We're not having air leaks and things like that. So. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
11.01 communications.
Yes, just one field trip, overnight trip, Sussex Central High School's football, July 27th through 29th to Salisbury University. I recognize that is today and the next couple days. They did submit this back in June, but it was after our board meeting, so it does require board approval. And this is paid for out of boosters.
By policy, how long are they supposed to have that in before it comes to board for approval?
Jen, what are we 30 days on this or 60?
Overnight 60.
Look, I'm gonna say this. I proved that this time. I had to do the same darn thing last year. Miss Wright, you had to do the same thing, I believe, the first year I was on the board. Am I correct? I believe so. So what I'm gonna say is, I'm not gonna approve this, or I hope nobody else is in the future, if that's not in 60 days. This is year number 3 in a row. So I advise you to notify the administration at Sussex Central High School and let them know this is it. There's not gonna be another strike.
Understood.
Anybody like to make a motion on that?
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve the field trips. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Hold the board, please.
Mrs. Briggs,
Yes.
Mr. Cathell,
Yes.
Mrs. Klein,
Yes.
Dr. Parsons,
Yes.
Mr. Peden,
Yes.
Mr. Steele,
No.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Mrs. West Warner,
No.
Mrs. Wright,
Yes. But I think it needs to be documented in the minutes that it's with the understanding that 60 days from here on out, or they don't get approved.
7 yes, 2 no, and 0 abstentions.
Thank you. Moving on.
So I just have a question before we move on. Today is July 27th. And today was the field trip, correct? Am I reading
I
this
got that
correctly?
last week. Because somebody was all whatever, and it seems like all 3 years this has been an issue, and if they know they're gonna go to that camp. Look, I think it's a great idea to go to camp in Salisbury, it's local.
Right, we
Just
want
get
that for
the
us.
paperwork in it. You know it's gonna be this time.
But we had
Get
to
the
approve
paperwork
it.
in.
We had to approve it because they went today, correct?
Well, I approved it last week on emergency approval,
Okay, I understand now.
but I won't do it again. Okay, moving into personnel 12.01. We have the personnel agenda for July 27th, 2026. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the personnel agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. 1202, personnel addendum for July 27th.
I make a motion that we approve the addendum with the exception of pulling number 16.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor that we approve the addendum with exception number 16. That's the motion on the floor, and I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Now we'll entertain, will ask you, does anybody want to make a motion on number 16?
So moved.
No, I'm asking somebody to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve action item on number 16.
I have a motion on number 16 to approve. Do I have a second? I have a motion to approve number 16. Do I have a second? Hearing none, the motion fails for lack of support. 12.03 contractual agenda for July 27th, 2026. We have, I think, 4 contracts, 3 or 4 contracts. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the contractual agenda.
I move to approve the contractual agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 12.04, there are no retirements, I believe. Is that right, Mr. Bunny? Thank you. 12.05, contract ratification, constables. I'll entertain a motion that we approve the ratification of the constable's contract.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimous. 12.06, contract ratification for custodians. I'll entertain a motion that we approve contract ratification for custodians.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimous. 13.01, public session. Dr. Owens.
Anyone wishing to make public comment? Mr. Radotovich.
I know you guys are probably sick of hearing from me, but I'm a product of the public school system, firmly believe in the mission and the charter of what we're about. But I do think there needs to be some fiscal and financial rigor and discipline. And I just want to make a few comments about that. I've heard earlier about apples and oranges and some confusion there, and I want to kind of just set the record straight. So ultimately, when you use averages, averages help you normalize for size differences and varying things, and it helps weed out the noise. So when I do speak, I give averages because it's the best way to normalize and equivalize things. So I just want to make that clear that everyone understands that. So if we look at the NEA statistics, school year 25-26, Delaware teacher salary averages were $78,614. In Indian River, for the most recent data from NEA was through year 22-23 school year. That average was $73,598. Now, we've had increases in salaries the last 2 years, I believe 5% 1 year and then another 2 or 3% this year. So based on my estimates, that would put the average Indian River school system salary at $79,500, roughly, give or take. I'm sure Mr. Parker can help clarify that. My point being is that if our teachers are underpaid, we should absolutely pay them. I am 100% in favor of that. There's no question about it. But I also believe we have to have some financial rigor because ultimately, I guess I'm the voice for the voiceless because all of us here can afford a tax increase in a referendum without a problem. It's the people outside the building who can't. And so I'm trying to be that voice for them and give them perspective so you all get a point of view of what's happening because not everyone can afford the increases. So ultimately what I'm saying is that roughly we're well paid. Our teachers are well paid. If you look at the national averages in the school year 25-26, Delaware ranked 14th out of 50 states. Our performance wasn't number 14. We're a little lower than that. My point being is that I think our teachers are well paid. We should have financial discipline around the process. And the last thing I'll leave you with is the fact that if you look at the NEA statistics, school year 25-26 across the country, the average pay for teacher increases was 2.76. I believe ours the last year and a proposal for this year are 5%. That's 224 basis points higher than the national average. That's all I wanted to say and just kind of make that out there. So thank you.
Anyone online wishing to speak?
I do, Mr. Johnson. Yeah,
sure.
Ms. Dorman, can you come up to the podium, please? I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot, and I know you know data in this district or elementary as well as anybody. What was the NAEP average for LB, the last NAEP exam given?
Well, we don't get the NAEP broken down by school.
So we don't know if LB did better than Philip Chow or Philip Chow did better than North Georgetown.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Jones, how did Sussex Central Middle compare to Georgetown Middle and Shelbyville Middle on the 8th grade NAEP?
Likewise, we do not get that data. We don't know how we compare to any other school in Delaware.
Using the NAEP as a national scorecard, I don't have a problem with that. But if we're going to use the NAEP as a national scorecard, give the school districts data. So we know. For all we know, we may be looking at a 40% number when our district could very well be 70%. The fact of the matter is, we can argue the point all night long. We're never going to know. Because that 40-some% is for one state. And if it's an average, we all know, if you have any math background at all, you got numbers above, you got numbers below. Some numbers can be way above, some numbers can be way below. So I know there's some concern about NAEP and the way school districts look at NAEP, but I'm going to be very honest. That's the reason why. It's a number they give us, doesn't tell us anything. Tells us nothing. We don't know demographically how our African-American kids do, how our Caucasian kids do, how our Hispanic kids do. We have no data. We just have a number. But when I still at a graduation and I stand up and I hear kids going to Harvard and going to Yale and going to military academies and 80% going to college and having been accepted, those real data facts that I can get into, and I can take a look at the demographics right down to the number of exactly what ethnic group is going where. Those are important numbers to school people. Very important. So when we take a look, and I agree, Mr. Radkovich, with what you said earlier, we can always do better. That's and as soon as the school district stops saying that and stops looking at that light for us to get better, we're all in trouble. We're all in bad trouble. But we can't get there fighting each other. We have to get there unified. And that's the one thing I'm going to say. Tonight, we talk about what people can afford, what people can't afford. And I feel you. I mean, I'm telling you, when you go in different areas, and I go in a lot of areas because I get around, there are a lot of people here who, as I said before, you look at a grandfather who has nothing but Social Security, didn't have the income of a pension. And you look at those folks, and we have to look at what we can do and how we can do it, but we have to do things much better than what we're doing. I agree with you 100%. But we've got to take a look at all the stats, A to Z, in order to get there. We can't focus on just one. We've got to look at all of them. And together we can look at all of them and set a good path forward to make this school district better. But we've got to start working together to get there. We live at a time where I see you go. I hate Facebook anymore because you go on, it's just critical. It's just draining where you see people tear down people for what they think, this, that. It drives me nuts compared to it. And I beg, take me back to the 70s when it was much better. But we're not there. And this is a problem we got nationally. We've got to work together to make this a better place, or it's all gonna implode. And I'm willing to sit down with anybody to do anything I need to do to get there. But I really think we have got to start working together to get where we need to go. I want to say, as this board, I know we're doing a lot of stuff no other board's done. I can tell you that for at least the last 20 years. And action plans for a board is unheard of, but we're doing them. And that's a big step, in my opinion, of where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. And as long as we work together, hand in hand, we may disagree. See that tonight, many votes. That's fine. It's okay to disagree, but we move on and we take on the next challenge. We overcome that. So from this point on, let's work together to make sure we get things done the right way, so we don't have to go back and repeat. That's all. Okay. 1401. Entertain a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. This has to go in history being the longest July meeting, I think. Okay, thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.